Hello everyone, and what we're going to be doing next is I'm going to be showing a simple method of creating an animation rig called parenting that's going to help us with this next part. Now the unfortunate part is most up to this point we've been using the HTML5 type of interface. Now what's the only problem with that is it doesn't really give us the option to work with the parenting elements. But the good news is, if you have your stuff in a library, which it should be by now, it's not that difficult to actually copy your stuff over with relative ease. And I'll be showing how to do that right now. So say that you have your whole library of elements over here. This is what you would do next. So first step, we would go to File and New. And we keep the settings that we had previously, HD 1280 by 720, 24 frames a second. Big difference though, we go into where it says HTML5 canvas and we change this to an option called Action Script. And we hit the create button to basically make this happen. It's identical to what we've been working with before. The biggest difference though is since it is using Action Script, it does have some elements that are a little bit different in terms of the scripting parts. Good news, we're not going to really need to worry about any of those, so that's at least a relief. And also, we have this little option called Show Parenting View that will allow us to basically do the rigging we need. And I'll explain how we do this as we progress. So, to actually bring your stuff over from an HTML5 document to an Action Script, pretty simple. If you have everything in your library, which hopefully by now you should be able to just right-click and copy. I'd recommend copy instead of cutting, just to be safe. And then all you need to do here is in the library, right-click, paste. And anything you made into a symbol should come up here immediately. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted everyone to make stuff into symbols ASAP, so that they basically can work with this. And I'm going to review this when we get to the character, by the way. So if you need a little refresher, no problem. So the way that you'd set up an animation rig, and we'll do this with this little what yahoo, that's basically what I called it. We're basically going to take three what yahoos and connect them together so that they can be animated. Now, this is going to be our first object, which is going to be our main parent. And we're going to create two more layers and two more what yahoos. Again, this is basically just what I called it. So each of these layers is going to have a different one. Now, when you're working with this kind of structure, I usually find, at least for beginners, and to be honest, I think it's the main way you have to do it anyways, they all should have their own layer for this. So, yep, there we go. Okay, so I have a layer for my main parent, a layer, as you can see over here, for, I guess you could call this subparent, or child 1. Oops. Almost forgot that you can't have any special characters. It fixed it for us, so that's cool. And I'm going to call the other one child 2. I might as well just call this child 1 and child 2, so I'm going to just switch that over right now. But it's important to make sure that whatever you name your layers, there's elements that you can remember easily. Now, this is going to be a short little animation, so like before, I'll make it 2 seconds. I might not need all 2, but at least I can have it ready. So I'm going to right-click, insert frame, and pretty much most of the stuff I need is going to be set. Oh, one important thing. The 8 ways I want this to rotate is going to be around this black circle. So, once again, I'm going to take my freeform transform, go to the pivot point in each of these sections. It would be a good idea to do this one by one, and put it in the black circle. So I'm selecting everyone individually before we do any kind of animating whatsoever. Put it in the center the best I can. So now when I'm about to rotate these, it'll rotate off of that little dot. All right. So if you want to follow along, all I did with this was I basically made myself a white box, black circle, made it into a symbol by going to modify and convert to symbol, and that was pretty much it. Okay. Now, to do the parenting, now I'm going to do this before we actually animate. Now you could, and it's probably a better way to do this too, is I want basically my child 1 to be parented or basically connected, to the main parent? Well, this is what you do. I select my layer of choice, go to the option called Show Parenting View. Basically, it's these three little boxes. And you see some new elements appear. Now, in this case, for this new box that I've made, I'm going to click that, and you'll see the two other areas that I've created, and it's going to ask you to set parent. I usually put my main parent at the bottommost area. In theory, you could put it pretty much anywhere, as long as you can see it easily. But yeah, I'll just go to main parent in this case, and like it's in the right mindset for this, wherever the parent goes, the child follows. That's basically how the kind of mindset works. So I'll show you again. On child 2, I'm going to actually put that to child 1. This is the reason why. If I put this to parent, they'll both move over like so, but the problem that comes up is when I'm actually doing the rotations, it's not going to follow this one, which is basically what we want. So the way that this would work is that the child 1 would be put to the main parent, and child 2 will be put to child 1. It's one of the reasons why it's a good idea to label your stuff as so. Now, when it comes to our main character, that's going to be a little bit trickier, but the main idea is going to be similar. So now, if I move this around, no problems. If I rotate this, that's how this is going to look. This is how this is going to look, and this is how this is going to look. And that's the whole reason why a person would want to do this. It makes it a lot more ideal for when we have to actually move arms and hands and feet and all this other kind of stuff, not to mention whole bodies. But there's going to be a couple things we could do that'll help the process with that. So I'm just going to show the whole process one more time, just so everyone can see that. So again, this is our main parent. This is what's going to control the whole shebang. This is what's going to control this area over here, and this is going to control nothing. So my main parent, do nothing with this. Child 1, I want this connected to my parent. So, bam. And you'll see over here how the hierarchy, or basically the parent-child relationship, basically works. Basically going up here, click this area again. And again, I don't want it to go to the parent in this case. I want it to go to child 1. And that's pretty much it. Just basically can rotate this back and forth like so. Can basically bring this back and forth like so. Can bring this back and forth like so. Relatively simple. So next part, I'm going to actually create the animation. I need to actually select all the layers. Insert, create Motion Tween. Be careful with doing them all at the same time. I've had some weird results happen, but I'm going to actually do a little experimentation here, see if that works. No problem here. But yeah, to just basically have it kind of sway back a little bit, I could basically select it like so. And you can basically see that it goes back and forth like this. And that's basically, again, how that's working. But again, because this is put as a parent, what the main parent does, the other children are going to follow. And then what this one does, this one's going to follow. So if I go to the other side, so for example, select this, have this rotate to the other side. Be careful not to overdo it. You've seen what happens if you go too far. But in this case, as long as the rotations are simple, it works pretty nicely. And that's basically how parenting works. So I would take a look at the video again a couple times just to make sure you have the general idea. But if you can do something like this, the other parts are not going to be too bad about this. But try to make something like this first, as you'll find that it's going to be a huge help for doing the body. So this is going to be one of my shorter videos. So I'm going to leave this like so. Try and do this the best that you can. And then go to the final video, which we're going to be actually rigging our main character. So that's going to take a little bit of time and probably going to be one of our bigger videos tonight. So take a little bit of a break if necessary, and I'll see you all in the next one.